Hi guys, I hope you've all had a great New Year break and are ready for what 2025 has in store for you. Thank you for those of you who follow my account, who've helped my account grow, who share my content. I'm really, really grateful. I hope my content is useful to you. I like to make content that's a bit more grounded and try to get into the depth of the traditional Kung Fu systems that I teach. Those of you who are training on my online school, either you're doing the weekly lessons where you're going through the systems that I teach, or you've done the one-off courses like the White Crane Neigong course. Thank you so much for supporting me, for supporting my work. And it's great, some of you reach out to me through our online group, or privately email me or message me and tell me how much the content on the courses has helped you and helped your training. So I'm really grateful to you all. I thought I should do my first video of 2025, and I wanted to do the video on weapons training in traditional Kung Fu. And it's a video I've wanted to do for a while because I get a lot of questions asked on it. The usefulness of weapons training and why we do it in traditional Kung Fu systems. We need to differentiate between traditional Kung Fu systems and modern Kung Fu systems, so modern Wushu. So modern Wushu, weapons training is mainly done for performance. It's a dance. You go and show off your movements at competitions, and some of these stylists, some of these practitioners have incredible grace and flow and handling of their weapons in these systems. But traditional Kung Fu is slightly different. It's important to understand that because you're learning weapons in a traditional Kung Fu system, you're learning weapons forms and how to handle weapons, doesn't mean you know how to fight with weapons. Okay? This is very important to understand. Like everything, if you want to learn to use these weapons or to use your Kung Fu in a combat situation, you need to spar. Yeah? You need to train against uncooperative opponents who are trying to get you and you're trying to get them. So that's the first thing. So in this day and age, nobody uses staffs, nobody uses swords, yeah? So sometimes I get the question, why do we train the weapons? In my system, there's a very specific reason we train weapons, and it's to do with the development of our Kung Fu. In our lineage, there's a saying. It takes a certain number of years to get power to your hands. It takes a certain number of years after that to take power to the tip of a staff, a wooden staff. And then it takes a certain number of years after that to allow that power to return. The traditional saying is it takes 10 years for this, 10 years for that, 10 years for that, for 30 years. In my experience, it doesn't take that long if the method's correct, yeah? But that gives us an idea of why we train weapons. So in my system, when we go through the initial 3 years of the foundation training, where we're learning to stand, to develop power, and by power I mean refined Jin, not brute force that you commonly see used, but refined Jin where the power travels through the lines of the body. Within the first 3 years, you should be able to bring a degree of power to your fingertips, to your palms, when you combine your attention, your intention, your mental qualities, and the development, the transformation of the body that you've done in the foundation training. Then, what I do is I teach you the staff. Yeah? So if you're one of my students, I will teach you our first weapon, which is the staff. So let me just get the staff. So you learn a standard wooden staff. It's quite solid. It's not those floppy staffs that flop around. It's good, strong bow staff, heavy. So the first thing we're doing when we're learning the staff is we're strengthening the body, first of all, yeah, because it takes specific kind of strength to be able to hold up the staff, to be able to manipulate it, to be able to move it. It helps strengthen the ligaments in all the joints that are needed to transfer power to the staff. And it makes you a little bit more robust, because any power that you put into the staff, there's an equal and opposite power that comes into your body that your body will need to learn to deal with. But the main reason that we're learning the staff form after we've done the foundation training and we're able to take power to the fingers is because we learn how to take power to the tip of the staff. So if my body is aligned a specific way to bring power to my hand, when I hold a staff that has an extra weight and an extra length beyond my body, my insides need to adhere to that extra force. Yeah, and by the word adhere, I'm using a very traditional term. My body, the insides, need to adjust and change to be able to project power to the tip of the staff. So what I'm doing with my body and with my structure and with my intention and what my attention is doing when I'm holding the staff and projecting power to the tip is different to what I'm doing if I don't have the staff. So if I'm standing like this to project power to the tip of the staff, if I change my body to as if I'm not holding the staff and just go to my hands, it changes, my structure changes. So I'm going between there and there. There, the tip, and back to my hands. Now this is very important because what we're developing is we're developing a unique quality of touch, yeah? A unique way that we touch an opponent through their bridge. So if my body has instinctively learned through training the staff to be able to project power to the tip of that staff, when I bridge with an opponent's arm or when I bridge with an opponent's body, my body aligns to go to where I want to inside that person's body. So my body adjusts and adheres to them and the forces their body is creating in that interaction, developing what's called one chi. Yeah? If we don't use the word chi, it becomes one unit. We become one unit. So we're not two separate entities in contact, but we're one entity. And me, being the one who's trained the staff, on contact, as they're changing, my body naturally adheres to them. It changes, it flows inside, changing the lines, changing the stretches, becoming more stretchy in certain places, becoming less in certain places, so I can maintain that one unit, that one chi. When you contact somebody with that quality of touch, they automatically lose their balance. Actually, a better way to put it is they automatically feel like they're losing their strength. They might not understand that they're losing their balance, but what happens is they feel like they're losing their strength. So their purchase on you disappears and they don't understand why. If they've trained, they'll understand why, and they might try and readjust, and whoever's able to adjust better will get the upper hand. But if they don't train in these systems, what happens is they lose their strength and they don't understand why. So they move to try and regain their strength to become dominant, and your body just adheres again, and then they don't understand what's going on, why suddenly they're not able to affect you with their force. Now, as usual, this is much easier to accomplish in a drill, a cooperative drill with a partner. It takes a lot of training, a lot of practice to do this in a fight. After we get proficient at the staff, the next weapon we learn is a sword. And it's my birthday recently, so I got gifted a nice Zhang Ma Dao, a nice horse cutting knife, so I'm going to use this to demonstrate, just to show it off. So here's my lovely new horse cutting knife by LK Chen, one of the best forgers around. yeah, I'll stop admiring my sword and we'll explain. Carry on with the video. So then we learn the sword. We actually learn the broadsword, but as I said, I'll use this to demonstrate. So the sword, whether it's one-handed or two-handed, the horse cutting knife is two-handed weapon, so we use both hands, and we can take one hand off now and again to swing. Again, the point of contact and the balance of this is different to the staff. So my body needs to adjust and spiral in more unique ways and more difficult ways. And because with a staff, you're hitting, it can be quite robotic. With a sword, there's a lot more flow, yeah? So I'm changing, everything's coming in, and it's not much sudden stops. I need to be able to maintain that adherence with the weapon throughout those flowing movements, and that's much more difficult. I need to maintain that one chi. And the classical saying is a true swordsman, the sword is not separate from the body, so it's just an extension of the body. And that's what we're trying to achieve. And the beauty of the longer weapons it takes a lot more refined internal changes and structural changes to maintain that connection through the sword. Now, again, because you're learning a sword form, because you're learning sword techniques, it does not mean if I give you your sword, get a time machine, drop you into, I don't know, Anglo-Saxon Britain, and tell you to go face off against the Viking invaders, that you're going to be able to defend yourself, yeah, or fight. You probably get your head chopped off within the first 10 seconds, yeah. Forms practice, techniques doesn't mean you know how to wield a sword in battle, yeah. It's very important to acknowledge that and recognize that. We have a very specific reason we train the weapons. It's to be able to take our force beyond our own body to the tip or to different areas of the weapon, so that when we contact an opponent, when we bridge with an opponent, that our power goes straight through them so that we control all of them, from the point where we touch down to the point that we're aiming. And sometimes you see some teachers use words like touch somebody's feet. So when you contact with somebody through their arm or through their shoulder or through their chest or wherever, touch their feet. That's what's going on, yeah? I'm extending myself down into their feet. That doesn't have to be a metaphysical thing of me extending myself. It's just, on contact, I adjust myself internally to be able to control a whole line from the point of contact down through their body, down to their feet. And to be able to do that, weapons training is a very, very good way to get there. I hope that makes sense. I hope I've explained that clearly. Sometimes there's so many things going on in my head that I want to explain, but then I forget some stuff. So I hope that's clear. Again, if you want to learn these systems the way I teach it, my method, if the way I speak, the way I teach aligns with what you're looking for, then yeah, please join my online school and yeah, learn these systems.